Okay, so I'm trying to pound out the wheel bearing out of the knuckle, and hopefully you can see, and the depth perception isn't too confusing, but I've got 1, 2, 3 supports on this guy, and I'm using the old race, so you'll have this to use yourself if you're doing your first one even, to pound out the the old bearing. So the only problem is you want something that's actually a little bit bigger, that's like fits them just inside this to push out the whole bearing. But if you don't, I think this will work. You want something larger so that you can push on the outside-ish of this diameter. You'll have to be a little bit inside. I said in the last video I was going to use the old one to push out, but I can't because it doesn't fit, obviously, because there's a smaller retainer so that it doesn't slide out this way. So it traps it, of course, which means that I can't use this size object to push it out. So you have to use something a little smaller, and if you use something that's the size of the inner race, which is what you just knocked out of the old one, then you'll fit inside and it'll be pushing on it'll be pushing on the inner race, and it's fine. It's just not as good as pushing on the outer part where you're actually trying to push that object through. So anyway, I'm going to put this down. I'm going to be using the old inner race to push out the other inner race, and I'm using a 32 millimeter socket on top, so that way when I hit this thing, I'm not worried about hitting this rim unevenly. I'm just going to smack a whole lot on it. So this is actually a lot more stiffly in there than the old one was. I guess there's more surface area because it's a larger diameter, so I have to use a lot more force. So that's what I'm going to do, is just smack this thing a whole hell of a lot more. Alright. That didn't seem to do that much, actually. That's just holding this thing so it doesn't rock unevenly, but it's really not holding any weight. But as you saw, my parts went flying because I was hitting it with so much force. That was, I mean, close to, I don't know, 80% of what I can swing on this thing. That was probably 90% force. As you saw, everything fell off, and it is progressing in there a little bit, but basically it's very difficult to get that thing pushed out, and I'm going to basically hit it a few more times like that, hopefully less than 10, probably it's going to be more like 20 times or more, and eventually I'm going to knock this thing out, I guess.